Hi guys, it's Chris from the Montana Barn Find. I'm here with Rick and Ricky at Moore's Garage in Belfry, Montana, downtown. We got something really special for you today, guys. So be sure to like and share this with your friends and stuff. I think you're really going to like what we have. Today we have a one owner 67 427 Cobra, and it's in the shop here for a clutch and some other work. And I'll flip the camera around here and we'll tell you a little bit about it. And here we go. So as you can see here, it's a 67. It's the wider body one with the 427. And the client who has it here bought it brand new. And he said there's only a handful of these that are still in the hands of the original owner. And I guess they made like, what would you say, Ricky, 260?
Yeah, about 260 between the 427 and the 428 in 1967.
And it's just been kind of upkept over the years and did the maintenance when it needed it, fixed things that were wrong when they went wrong.
And he drove it.
And he drove it, and he still drives it. Rick, tell the story about how it got here.
So he drove the car here to show us. He wanted us to work on a pickup. And he said, yeah, I'm going to come over today. Are you going to be around? I said, yeah. So I didn't know he was bringing this. So he pulls in, and he comes in the shop, and he's telling us, he says, hey, I brought the Cobra. And I was like, oh, my God, I've wanted to see this car forever. So we went out, and he tells me and Ricky, he says, well, take it for a drive. So Ricky drove it first, him and Kevin. They went for a little drive, and then he comes back. Me and Greg took it for a ride, and then we talked a little while, and then it was time for him to leave, and Ricky said, hey, I'd like to video you leaving. And he goes, yeah, I'll do a little burnout for you. So he pulls out on the highway here and gets on it in first gear, and he missed second gear. And I thought, oh, that was terrible, showing off on video and missed second gear. Well, turns out the clutch went away in his first gear takeoff. And he came back and said, something happened to the clutch. So that's why it's here. We are going to try to get the clutch out of it today and get another one ordered and get the flywheel surfaced and put it back together.
And what did you think, Ricky? Give us some impressions of what it was like when you were driving it.
I mean, it's not the fastest car in the world, but it's got some get up and go to it. I think he'd said it weighs 2,300 pounds wet, and I mean, that's nothing for 425 horsepower.
Yeah, and I mean, it was fun to drive. It's amazing that for a 1967 car, it's got coilovers, it's got independent rear, it's got rack and pinion, it's got Halo-brand knockoff wheels, which I'm sure came on the car. I think he told me that this car new was $9,700. That's what he paid for it back then.
Wow.
And it's kind of a funny story because he said he bought two cars that year. He bought this and he bought a Mini Cooper.
It was a 1964 Mini Cooper, and he was trying to make the decision between that or the 64 Porsche Speedster.
Wow.
The Mini Cooper.
And he said that was the only time he really screwed up in his whole life. He bought a Mini Cooper, but he still has it. It's red also. It's a beautiful little car.
I saw that turning the corner one day, and I'd never seen it before. I'm like, that's an original Mini.
They're so little. But it's just like he said, all the stories he's got of it. He had a 289 car, and he ran into somebody with it and sold it at a car lot, traded it for something else in California, and just got rid of the car. But he said he always loved it, so he ended up buying this one. And you can see the windshield's broke. It's got filth all over it. I mean, it is what it is, and he uses it. He uses it.
I wonder how many of these actually get driven and used rather than they're just in a museum or a private collection, being shiny all the time,
All the car shows I've been to and every place I've been, I've probably only seen 4 or 5 Rio 427 cars. And one of them was at Bear Jackson.
Right.
And you were there with me. And there was a Run to the Sun club that came through Red Lodge. And there were like 13 of these cars, and most of them were small blocks.
Yeah, there were some fiberglass ones, small block ones, and I think there were 2 427 ones.
Yep.
So this is the third one I've seen in person. But they're a pretty crudely built car.
I was just gonna say that.
It's not like they took their time to perfect this car by any means. They did what they had to do to make things work and fit. And
No, but Chris, Ricky, hop in and show everybody how much room you've got in the car. It's compared to my Corvette that I used to have. There's tons of room.
there's a big dent in the back right here from people getting in and putting their
Yeah,
hand on
because
it.
it's aluminum. He said people, when they get out, they push down there, and it's the car. They basically rolled the aluminum over a round bar that goes around the whole car,
Yeah.
and then it's pop riveted.
But the tunnel is so wide that you sit crooked. Your legs are shifted this way to reach the pedals, and it's got about as much room as my rat rod does. So tennis shoes are the way to go to drive it. But it is a fun little car. You feel like you're in a little go-kart.
That's way cool.
So
The history is just cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's amazing that one man with his little vision built his own race car, and then Ford helped him out and became something else, and he started working on Mustangs, and it's just a cool history piece.
And tell us a story about why it has the pipes out the back.
Well, he had side pipes on the car, and he said they were so loud because they're right at your ear. And he took it to some place, and they changed it. And he ended up buying stainless headers for it, and then had them do a whole stainless exhaust system. And I can't imagine how loud it was with side pipes. I'd hate to guess what this car is worth.
Yeah, I don't even want to attempt that. A lot.
I'm guessing it's worth over $1 million.
I'm sure it's 7 figures for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid, just starting to get into cars, they were $500,000 back then.
Right.
I asked him about the wider rear end of it and why they didn't straighten them out, and he said that they didn't like it either, so Shelby straightened them, but it cost about $500 a unit to get this to be flush all the way around. So they said screw it, went back to the wide body because it was easier and cheaper to build it that way.
It's
Someone
just
told me that these bodies were built somewhere in England, and kind of just a funny story. This guy told me he heard that there was a bunch of guys pounding all this bodywork out underneath a bridge somewhere. And
that could be.
They were all built this way and shipped over here, and then they were, if you can see that it's all attached, double rolled, and the bottom down here, it just rolls completely around a round piece of tubing that hooks to the frame. And we can lift it if you want.
Yeah, let's put it up and show them underneath it, because that's very interesting how they're built. Most people probably have never been able to see one like that.
Right, I couldn't wait to lift it up and look at it. I just wanted to see how they did it. He's got a little thing on the fender. But look at the wheels. It even says Calibrand right on the spinner there.
Johnny, the green truck belongs to another client, and it's almost done. We will show you that stuff here when we're done with the Cobra. And if you guys are on, if you have some questions, just type them up there. I'll try to answer them as we go along or later on. Be sure to tell us where you're watching from.
You can see it's independent, and to me it looks like a Dana 36. That's what it looks like to me. But they built their own control arms. You can see the early coilovers, disc brakes. Everybody said they had a Jag rear end, and I do not think this has anything to do with the Jag. But the round frame is very interesting too.
Get some light on the subject here.
Yeah, there you go.
And it was interesting to me, they necked this exhaust down. And he said he did this about 40 years ago. But the exhaust is necked down from the header to here, and then back into the muffler, and then back out. Look at this. This has been scraped before too. See how you were talking about that?
Yeah, everything's been
Like
scraped
the,
at one point.
we were talking about the front cross member. It's seen some rough use.
You can see right here. See how they rolled the body around the framework. You can see they just rolled it, and then they clipped it and rolled it again.
Yeah, that's way cool. And if I remember right from watching the movie, they were doing them in a airplane hangar at LAX.
Yeah.
Is where they were assembling
Yeah,
them.
and if you go to Facebook once in a while, you'll see a video of them building the 350 Mustangs in the assembly plant. And it was, I think there was like 8 or 12 white Mustangs they were building.
And this is how the clutch and how you think you're going to get it out of there. You haven't decided yet, huh?
Well, I would have thought, being a race car, they would have made it way easier to remove this cross member. So we're just going to take a Sawzall and we're going to cut it right here. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. I think we're going to take the rear end and we're just going to roll it down so that we can unbolt the drive shaft, slide it back, slide the tranny back. And I want to get the flywheel off and get everything ordered and get it done. He called me today and he says, I was wondering if you sold my Cobra yet.
No, somebody came and stole it. We don't know what happened. It's not
Word's
in our
already
garage.
out that it's here, though, because Joe texted me yesterday. Did you see the Cobra that's up at Rick's?
I think Greg must have posted it. Very interesting car.
Way cool. Carl, Michael, thanks for joining us, all you guys. You want to talk a little bit about some of the other projects here real quick?
So this is a 57 frame. It's going, the guy is getting his car painted. It was supposed to be here a couple months ago, but 430 horse with a 6-speed. This is our friend, the Don Juan. We call him the Donger. This is his truck.
Don, here's your truck.
This is another
Hi, Skip.
customer.
Lauren.
Same thing, we built the frame. They were doing the work, and then they got to the point where they weren't getting it done, which is great because at some point when you're building this stuff, you got to decide what you can do and what you can't do, and just keep moving. So he brought it to us. We're going to make it run, and then he's going to finish it.
There are not many people that do what they can't do on a car, so they just let it sit.
Yeah.
But these guys were like, well, we got to a point where we're stuck, so we're going to bring it up, have you get us to where we can get going again. And
It's funny how like everybody's doing trucks now. I mean, like 2 years ago, this was all Tri-Fis in here, and 2 years before that was all Corvettes, and now it's all trucks.
It's all a cycle.
Yeah,
the trucks are so much more usable, too.
that's
This
true.
one here is a guy, he's from Minnesota, and actually, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but Travis Von Dieter used to paint on the Vegas Rat Rod show, and Travis is going to actually come up here and paint this truck for us.
Way cool.
He's not going to paint it. I'm going to paint it. He's going to do the airbrush work, and then Jake will clear it. But that goes on this. And then this truck here is from Cody. It's an LSA, all Corvette, and it's just turning out so cool. He's picked the paint. He's done all of this. So
Somebody was already asking if it was for sale on here.
yeah.
Does it have a latch on it yet?
Yeah, it does. It's right there.
Wait.
It's ready to start. We got to put the fuel tank in, and then it's going to Kevin to get the upholstery done. Pull it twice. Lift it while you're rolling. There you go. There it is. And the cover is actually just sitting on there. I haven't bolted it or clicked it in, but I'm going to paint the cover green. Yeah.
The green, yeah.
Like black.
But it's got brakes, fuel. It's got everything. Just needs a fuel tank.
We have the fuel tank, but we broke the pump, so I got that fixed now.
That's about, that happens on them, huh? How many times do we do it on the 57?
Yeah.
At some point.
We're actually using, it's a Rick's tank. And for all of you LS guys out there, we've been using the water barrel pumps. And the problem is they're returning fuel, and the fuel gets hot after time. So now this is a new Camaro Super Sport pump. And instead of being the fuel going through a regulator, it's regulated within itself. So this doesn't create a bunch of heat.
Right.
And the other nice thing, you don't hear it.
Right, they're
They don't
quiet,
make any noise. So they're a little bit more money, but they're wonderful.
but they're super fragile in shipping.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And then we just got engines. Chevy has been back ordered on these engines, so we're starting to get some more in. And these are actually leaving tomorrow to go to Wyoming. And the other one goes in a frame that's painted and done. We just got to put it together. So really, the shop looks like a dump right now, but it is what it is.
Well, when it's negative 30 out, you don't really spend much time with the door open, so you just kind of shove everything in the shop and do what you can.
And the other shop's got a bunch of Tri-5s in there now,
Yeah.
and a Ford.
We're full everywhere.
Well, so that's kind of it on the Cobra, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, because it was a real treat for us. Maybe we'll be able to do a little more on it later once the clutch is in and it's ready to go again. And yeah, we just enjoy having you guys on here. If you can, check out Ricky Moore's YouTube page. He does some progress videos and puts them up on there. And also we have the Montana Barn Find on there as well. If you guys go over to YouTube, look us up and give us some love over there. And anything else you guys want to add before we say goodbye for the weekend?
Have a good weekend. See you later.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us now, as soon as this is done, you can go back and watch it from the beginning.